set, go. Running in the fast lane, rolling with the hit squad, shining like gold, tear up the road, lighting up the road.
Pittsburgh Steelers fans, it is time once again for another episode of the show we call the Steelers Q&A. My name is Bryan Anthony Davis. I am so glad to be here with you once again. As always, what a beautiful day. And why am I saying that? Because, yeah, this is my favorite. This is my holiday day. I wish my Steelers were in the Super Bowl, but very glad to be able to watch this game. And I had fun. Seriously, probably not. Well, let me say this real quick. It's the Steelers Q&A. I'm Bryan Anthony Davis. It's your show. Please be sure that you get all your questions in. We are going to talk about the game. We're going to talk about the Steelers going forward and talk about a few things. Definitely. I'm seeing right here, Jack Myhoff, Patriots were frauds. Yeah. Were they frauds, or was Seattle that good on defense? I think a little bit of both, best I can say. I thought Seattle could have made it a game at the end. I was hoping that they would make it a game at the end. Of course, they did not. But as far as everything, this is where I don't know how this comment is going to resonate, but I kind of felt that was a good Super Bowl game for me to watch. I enjoyed it. And the reason I thought it was a good game, even though it got out of hand at the end, there were still opportunities for the Seahawks to shut out the New England Patriots. There were chances for the New England Patriots to get back into it. So I was absolutely rooting for the Seattle Seahawks in this game. And it wasn't really because they were the Patriots, because I'm going to tell you, there wasn't much unlikable about the New England Patriots this year. And I really think that Mike Vrabel came available a year too late. Mike Vrabel was a guy that the Steelers organization, I had heard this, that the Steelers really wanted a guy like Vrabel. So maybe that's what you can say. Matt Cat 49 says the owner is unlikable. Yeah. I mean, he could be worse. I mean, there's worse out there than Robert Kraft. But yeah, if you're going to look at something there, I know Stephon Diggs didn't like the fact that he was dancing with Cardi B before this week in the game. So there's so much to talk about in this game. Like I said, I had fun. I always love the Super Bowl. We're going to talk about a little bit of everything. Only thing I don't talk about commercials. If you want to talk about them, put that in the live chat. I mean, I don't watch the game for the commercials, and I hate when people talk about it. There's some entertaining ones, but I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about football. And the thing that we're all going to go back to is, what can the Steelers learn from the Seahawks Super Bowl formula? And I think there's things that we could learn from it here, because they were a 10-7 team. The Steelers were a 10-7 team. Now, that does not mean that the Steelers are going to go out and win the Super Bowl just because they were both 10-7. But the Seahawks going into the offseason did not look very good. And in fact, I got to tell you, this is me saying it, and you know I pride myself on telling you when I'm wrong. The Seahawks I tabbed to not be third place at best in that division. And the reason I'm saying that is I didn't believe that a 5-team quarterback was going to get it done. I didn't believe Sam Darnold was going to get it done. That's a very good defense there. But that's a defense that does give up some points from time to time. Tonight, they were on fire. And everybody, the Steelers, here's another thing real quick. Steelers lost to this team basically because of turnovers in week 2. But the Steelers had them on the ropes. And if it wasn't for 7 going the other way and just weird stuff going on with what happened with the gaffes, I mean, that really weird Seattle touchdown in the Steelers game, the Steelers should have won that game. But T. Lyons says Darnold doubters were wrong. Right here. I was a Darnold doubter. I was on Darnold. I was so on Darnold when he was drafted. I thought he was going to be the guy. I think going to the New York Jets kills you. I really do. I think it stunts you as a quarterback, stunts you as a player. Hell, it stunted Aaron Rodgers too. Because you got to say Aaron Rodgers was a much better quarterback this year than he was in New York. But hats off to Sam Darnold. Mark Cunningham says Darnold was in the same draft class as Baker, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and he wins a Super Bowl. First time. He's the first one to get it. Steeler Chick 46 says, my brother's a Vikings fan, is super pissed that they let Darnold go. Yeah. Now, I want to tell you this, though. Let's talk about that. They had a very good head coach, a good offensive-minded head coach in Minnesota. And not only that, but they had a guy named Angelicio. And Angelicio, I hope I have that right. I believe it's Angelicio. And now he is the offensive coordinator. Even though he's not going to be calling the plays, he was not calling the plays. Well, he was a tight ends coach. But in Minnesota, he helped develop. And this guy's been developing. And now he's adding right now to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And he has a chance to really make a difference. Be a part of a team of coaches, a staff that could make a difference. I want to read this. Steve Pickering, everyone is scared to call Kraft a scumbag. I'm completely comfortable saying it. The only power they have is what you give him. Kraft is a scumbag. That's fine. And Steve, I don't have a problem. I call very little people scumbags. I do it. Don't get me wrong. I just don't throw it around too much. I'm also trying to be a kinder, gentler bad. But that might change. So I'm just going to throw this. This is completely crazy. But we've been watching the Olympics. You have no clue where I'm going with this. And I've been wanting to be kinder, gentler bad for a while. But I might change that. And it's because watching the Olympics on Peacock, And every time I watch Peacock, I see these advertisements for a show called The Traders. And I'm watching these, and they have these B and C list not even B, C and D list celebrities, basically. Zac Efron's brother, Boston Rob, guys like that. And they have these guys, anybody that was ever a housewife was on there. But they have these players on there. And this show, and I'm like, this show looks absolutely incredibly awful. And then the Olympic broadcast ends. And what appears on my screen? The Traders. And I'm talking Friday this happens. Friday night. I can't find my remote, which my remote's my cell phone, but I couldn't find it. Needless to say, it started with the start of season 4, which isn't over yet. And I'm watching this. I am 2 episodes away from being done with season 4. I just finished season 3, and I'm going back and watching season 1 and 2. Not only am I doing that, because I'm watching it and seeing how these people are looking out for themselves and doing certain things and making sure they look out for number one. I don't want to be that guy. But then a promo comes on and says, hey, March 10th is the deadline for the very first civilian traders. So I've got a lot of time during the day right now. The job market has been tough. I'm unemployed on my regular end. Not afraid to say that. If anybody wants to hire me, feel free. But, pharmaceutical sales not going well right now to that job market. So I'm going to get my passport. And tomorrow I'm shooting a video. And I'm going to sign up for that show. So I'm going to try to be a bad guy on a reality show. Why not? And why am I bringing all this up? Because it's never too late to get a big win. For Sam Darnold, it wasn't too late to get his big win. Now, Aaron Rodgers has had his big win, but it was a long time ago. Same with Mike McCarthy. And these guys, like these reality show contestants, are looking for redemption. So, here I am. Not only am I trying for some kind of redemption, I don't even know if I ever had it, but I'm going to say this. Maybe these guys, these veterans, want to get back to one last glory, like these players on the Traders. So there you go. Mark Malone says, bad. Been getting massages from crafts therapists. You know what's funny about that? The greatest misconception is, I have this persona. That's why I want to be on this show, because I have this persona as this kind of guy. But I don't go to the Beehive. I haven't been to a strip club since I was in my early 30s, I think. I'm actually a clean living guy, but I've got a persona. So that's what I'm thinking. I go on the show, I have my persona, and people won't know. Maybe I could win the $250,000. There you go. I think my podcast career will skyrocket. We'll get a lot more downloads. Me, Jeff, and Dave. We'll get a lot more downloads. All right. Enough about that. Steeler Chick, We think you're great just as you are bad. No need to change. At my time, I just, maybe I need a change. I don't know. Afton, my good buddy Afton, Jason Myers, first player in history to hit 200 plus points in a season, plus postseason. Did not know that. Absolutely. That is really cool. I want to talk about the NFL writers or whoever votes getting it right with Kenneth Walker. What is he, Kenneth Walker the third? So Kenneth Walker, they definitely got it right. He had to have been the MVP. I was bummed when that holding play. I mean, he would have had 170 some yards. I wanted him to have that touchdown. I like Kenneth Walker. And if I'm not mistaken, I think my gosh, that guy made himself a lot of money tonight because I think he's a free agent. Somebody, if you could fact check that for me. There you go. But yeah, they got it right with this guy. There has not been a 100-yard rusher in the Super Bowl since the last time the Seahawks played the Patriots. There hasn't been. Marshawn did it. But that's just crazy to me. But if defense wins championships, it definitely stops the run. And the Patriots defense was not bad in this game today. They weren't. I tell you what, the Patriots, look out for them. They're going to be good. With the exception of Robert Kraft, it's hard to see a guy like Mike Vrabel lose. Ultimate class act move for Mike Vrabel to try to calm down in the middle of that game. Try to let his young quarterback Drake May know that, hey, you're okay, buddy. You're okay. Keep on going. So that's one of those things to look at there too. T Lions, go watch the UK version, Brad. Okay. I want to do that. I absolutely want to do that. Here's something interesting, and this is not a surprise whatsoever. If this was a secret, it's not, but apparently Clint Kubiak did say that he is the next head coach for the Las Vegas Raiders. So that he's going to be. So he can do that now. So there are no official coaching openings, but I mean, he's been his coach for a week. People are wishing me good luck on the reality show. I might not even get it, but I need a good video. So that'll be fun. Because you know what? Not a lot of people know this, but I've appeared on screen during Survivor. If you watch the end of season 37, that was Heroes versus Villains. I was in the audience, and Jeff Probst tripped over me during the live show in 2018. It was right after the Steelers had that great win in the regular season over the Patriots in 18. So, yeah, but people started binge watching Survivor during COVID, and all these people would come up to me, and still just a couple of months ago, somebody came up to me and says, I saw you in Survivor. I'm like, yeah, I was in the audience. My son tells people that I was on Survivor, and I appeared on screen. I was not on Survivor, but when I went to Survivor, and my best friend since I was in 6th grade is one of the supervising producers. He's been there for 15 years, does amazing work. And for my birthday that year, he and my wife conspired to get me out there for my birthday, because my birthday's in December. And so I got to go out, and it was great. I got to go to the post live show and hang out with all of them. And it was incredible, but I kept on saying to everybody, I was hanging out with all the casting directors and everything, and I'd say, so how do I, and they would cut me off. They're like, no, you would die. I was probably about 20, 30 pounds heavier then. It's probably my heaviest, but I'll never be able to be on Survivor, but I always wanted to be. This would get me closer to that dream. So what we need to talk about here is, what can the Steelers learn from the Seahawks Super Bowl win? And John S. says, Walker reminded me a little bit of Jaylen Warren. And he does. Let's take a quick break. We're going to expand on that, and we're going to talk about a few things here and transition to what the Steelers can learn from the Seahawks. So we'll be right back. Stick around. It's not bad language. No. It's the Q&A, the Sunday night Q&A, Sunday Night Bad, and we'll be back right after this. So please do me a favor and stick around.
Ready, set, go. Ready, set, go. Running in the fast lane, rolling with the hit squad, shining like gold, tear up the road, lighting up the road.
All right, we are back. It is the Q&A. The Super Bowl is over. The Seattle Seahawks, congratulations to them. I don't think anybody's really disappointed in the fact that the Seattle Seahawks won the Super Bowl. Somebody mentioned that one of the reasons that the GM, and it's my good friend Reginald Rivers, I love Reginald, from Tennessee, never forget that. Sam Darnold got the GM fired in Minnesota, all because they didn't re-sign him. Yeah. And I was one of the ones saying that, no, we don't want Sam Darnold. But then again, I didn't want Aaron Rodgers at first either. I will say this, though. I don't think Sam Darnold would have had a great season with the Steelers because the offensive formula was terrible. And the offensive formula for Seattle has not been good for a while. But they bring in Clint Kubiak for 1 year, and he changed things around. So you can go from mediocrity to first in a New York minute. And it's not because you have, and somebody was saying this, I was listening to a show. I was listening to a Las Vegas Raiders show with my good friend Hondo Carpenter, who's the esteemed beat writer for the Raiders. And he said, getting to the Super Bowl these days is not as hard as you think it is. It's belonging in the Super Bowl is what it is. It's being able to put it all together. But getting the plan for the Super Bowl, when I'm saying getting there is easy, no. It's the plan. Putting a plan together is easy, but being able to have a good plan and execute it and put everything together, you can get all the pieces you want. The Steelers could have got Sam Darnold, but they wouldn't have had the right system for him. Real quick, Kathy says, I've been thinking naked and afraid. I have no problem being naked at any time. No The only problem I have is that I have to subject that to people. So, Mean Green says, bad. Will our Pittsburgh Steelers now become the first franchise to win a 7th Super Bowl championship? I'm just going to say this. What I just said, it's all about putting the pieces together is not hard. And I'm stealing that, but it's not hard. Somebody mentioned in the comments that Seattle's defense was great, and I lost it. Seattle's defense was great. That's what they kind of thought would happen with Pittsburgh, with the cost of everything. With Patrick Graham here and the other coaches, and they're hiring more coaches than they've ever had before. They've 20 plus now. And with this, it seems like they're putting together a better plan than they had. Not saying Mike Tomlin's plan was ever bad, but Mike Tomlin never deviated from the plan. Sometimes you've got to fix on the fly, and he was too stubborn to do that. T. Lyon says Walker reminds me a lot of Frank Gore. Walker also doesn't block. John says Bad has been on TV like 5 times, I feel like. I got to count. National TV, the Hall of Fame, when John Stallworth got in, Survivor. I was on that national commercial for Monday Night Football. I think there was one other. Those 3. I think those 3 times. I got to think, but I think those 3 times. I think that's it. There might have been another one, but Walker was giving me Lev Bell vibes today with more speed, of course. Yeah, he did. I mean, even Mark, that's a good comparison. And I think Chris Collinsworth even said, Le'Veon Bell would be smiling with the way he was kind of setting it up. He did look like that. I like that a lot, Mark. That's true. And can you imagine a guy like Kenneth Walker in Pittsburgh? That'd be amazing. Let's go ahead and keep on looking around here. T-Lines, good night, y'all. Got to work. Got to be crazy here in Seattle. Oh, he's in Seattle. These nuts couple of days. Have a great show. Yeah, it's going to be nuts. Man, that parade is going to be incredible for them. I'm happy for them. Kenneth Walker's been a beast since he's been at Michigan State. For some reason, I thought he went somewhere else than Michigan State, unless he was a transfer. I know he went to Michigan State. I'm not denying that. But was he drafted out of Michigan State, or was he at Memphis for some reason? Or was he at both? Nah, I know. Yeah, I guess I'm seeing Michigan State. Why? I know Kenny Gainwell was Memphis. Maybe I just mixed that up. Really I liked Kenneth Walker for a long time. Oh my gosh, he's fantastic. I am going to go ahead and call my shot. I think the Steelers might be looking at a guy like Breece Hall to come in if they can't get a guy like, that might be comparable to what they have, but if they can't get Kenny Gainwell back, yeah, maybe. Mark Cunningham, I knew that rookie safety was going to be an impact player. Boy, did he go to the right team. Yeah, gosh, you've got a great defensive young mind. And here, I heard this tonight. I didn't know that he almost quit football to go into the corporate world. Steelers Freak. And Steelers Freak was the one who said that about The Seahawks D is what they expect out of the Steelers. Bad looks like Babe Ruth in that hat. I don't drink as much as Babe Ruth. I don't score as much as Babe Ruth. I'm probably chubby like Babe Ruth. Mark Cunningham says they let Daniel Jones go also, and he was playing great before he got hurt. Yeah, I guess that's that Minnesota situation was weird last year. The Steelers' prevent offense wouldn't fit any QB, but it's gone, and that's the nice thing. Bad, do you think our record number of assistant coaches will help us in 2026? Absolutely, Rob Tightoff. And I know they're up to 23 so far. And I think it helps because, I'm involved in scouts. And one thing that we say in scouts all the time is many hands make light work. When you're putting 6 or 7 more guys to it, then you have more planning. You have more people coming up with ideas. You have more hands-on with these players. I think this is great to have more coaches. Why are they suddenly doing it now? On the surface, Art Rooney's still here. I still blame Art for a lot. I got to throw that on Tomlin because Art's doing it now. Reginald Rivers, Seattle team has balance, and the Steelers don't. And I get that. But I think they could be. I think they're a lot closer to being balanced. Seattle did not have a great offensive line coming into this year, but they had some young players there and they grew. I think the Steelers offensive line is going to grow. I think they're going to go big. They're going to bring in a big man at wide receiver in the first round, or they're going to go big and trade up for Caleb Downs. They would have to go really big to do that. But they have 3 third-rounders. They could do that. They might go Caleb Downs. Oh, boy, I would love him just to be Caleb Downs in Pittsburgh. That would be great. Great one. Seattle is good offensively and defensively, and their special teams even good tonight. Yeah. There's no reason that the Steelers can't be good offensively and defensively next year. They're going to go high with a wide receiver, whether it's in free agency, in a trade, or drafting one high, like I just said. Sam W. says AFC is wide open next season, and it still is. Absolutely. I don't expect New England to run it back. Thanks for everybody that looked it up. He was at Wake for a few years. He's from Memphis. There we go. I knew Memphis was there. At Fast Food. Oh my gosh. Fast Food Review and Delvis 2. I would love to know what that means, but I will give you a free plug. If you have a fast food review website, I would love to know what that is. But if that's what you have, sir, let me know because I'm going to pump that up because I want to check that out. But I'm having trouble reading all that together. Is Rodgers coming back? It's starting to look like it. It really is. But I think that they're going to make a decision. They're going to push somebody young too. Whether it's Will Howard, whether it's bringing in somebody, whether it's drafting somebody. And I know a lot of people will just, I know you're going to type this right away. No, I don't want anybody from this draft. There's somebody from this draft that's going to help a team in the third or fourth round. A guy like Nussmeier. I think Garrett Nussmeier is a guy that I would look at on any team. And here's the reason why. He was slated to be the best quarterback. Even people were saying him over Arch Manning. Then he didn't have a good year, but he had a horrible situation with the Brian Kelly situation at LSU. So I really think that he is going to be back. But there's a lot of speculation that A-Rod is coming back for one more year. And I think it's a lot because of Campen. Not McCarthy, but Campen even more. But apparently there's been some conversations. TD, Tom Dessenberger. Tomlin never had a plan. He was always trying to do the best with what he could afford. I don't know if I blame him or Rooney. I blame both. I'm not going to throw 100% of the blame on Mike Tomlin. Because deep down, I'm still a Mike Tomlin guy. But he's not the Steelers coach anymore. And, I don't want to pile on him now that he's gone. My thing, though, it's just luck. There was some stubborn parts of his game. And one was letting the defense handle everything. Because you don't want to get stuck with a turnover. And I was thinking about that. And I was watching highlights this week, watching old Super Bowls. In Super Bowl 14, the Steelers in Super Bowl 14, I think Bradshaw had about 35 touchdowns and 25 interceptions that year. He had an absorbent amount of interceptions. But they took chance after chance after chance. It was basically 60-40. But the thing about it is they knew with the 60, they were going to win games there. That was a 12-14. So they won 75% of their games. But they weren't afraid to go after it. And I think you've got to do that. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and God blessed, know when to run. Rest in peace, Kenny Rogers. I love you. Your chicken was quite good too. But here's the thing. Mike Tomlin's game was, we're not going to close things out because our defense hopefully will close it out. But there were so many nervous moments and there were so many losses at the end that didn't have to be. And Steelers Freak is getting credit for prevent offense, and it's true. Steelers Freak is also saying the staff proves Rooney is willing to pay. Yeah. So maybe he is willing to pay. They had the highest paid defense. I never said he was cheap. Steelers Freak built a new stadium and training complex outside the city next. Yeah, I'm on board. Trade up in the second and third. This draft is what I would do. I've been doing a lot of mock drafts because I know I've been doing stuff with Draft Nation, so I know a lot more of these guys. And it's a lot of fun, and they could have a very talented draft this year. It's some people are saying it's not deep, but I think it is. Blue Nose Steelhead. I always appreciate Blue Nose. Avoid the high receiver. Thoughts of Bryant. Maybe Holmes is a better image for me. Okay, I thought you were going to say, hey, don't pick one high, go in the third or fourth round. Okay, yeah, that's true. Really like Makai Lemon a lot. I love Concepcion. I want to throw something out there. Everybody's talking about the Steelers are going to go after Denzel Boston, who is very good. He's 6'4". He's a good receiver. And Mel Kiper and all these people and local people, draft people are all saying that's who the Steelers are going to take. I'm willing to bet you they don't. I am willing to throw it on the line. You heard it here first. If I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong if they draft him. Those are, it's that time of year, so I'm going to bring it out. That's your media matchmakers. They're going to get, I think what the Steelers are looking to do, get a guy that's 5'10" to 6 foot. Get that smaller, fast guy. Not too small. You don't want to go too small. Makai Lemon is fantastic. Casey Concepcion, yes. I mean, I'll take a 6'4" guy. I'll take a big guy. But I was talking to some draft people, and they're like, Metcalf is 6'4". Metcalf's or 6'2". Metcalf's your big guy. And Boston is that big guy. So everybody wants to. It's like the national media. They don't they look at 32 teams, so they don't specialize it. They don't know what's needed in Pittsburgh. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of people, and you have every right to be down on DK Metcalf. But this is my quote for DK Metcalf, and you can go ahead and write this one down too. Let's go ahead and wait until end of 2026 to say that he was a bad trade. Because I think with a new offense, another wide receiver, you're going to have a better year from DK Metcalf. And I still think DK Metcalf is a much better individual than a lot of people think. Yes, he's probably being sued for $100 million. I get it. Saw that come out the other day. That guy, I'm not saying his name, but that guy's going to sue him. Sue the Steelers, sue everybody. He's even suing Chad Johnson. The guy made a huge mistake. And that is DK Metcalf. But he's a good locker room guy. And those are the reports. He also tried to come back to the stadium to celebrate with them after the Ravens game and couldn't. Because it was the traffic was insane. Man, it took me 2 hours to get an Uber, and I basically had to get an off-duty Uber driver to help me out that day. So that's what I'm saying. Let's reserve on that. Mark Cunningham says this. Bad, I lost. But it's like, hey, look, I lost it, but we need 2 wide receivers is what Mark was trying to say. Weather and draft analyst are 2 jobs you can be absolutely terrible at and still hold your job for years, says Blue Nose. I like that. I lost that, but yeah, you do need 2 wide receivers to come in. And I would like to see them get the fast game breaker and then bring in a guy. There's a guy named Ted Hurst from Georgia State, I believe. He could be a good 3rd, 4th round guy. He's amazingly huge, good hands, everything. Then there's the guy from, and his name's escaping me, but there's a guy you can get in the 5th round, maybe 6th, from Notre Dame. You get your big guy then. But what I'm saying is, I think you're going to be fine with Metcalf here. Brian Brown, love Brian Brown. Now we know why we haven't seen him for a while. Not going to lie, after the Steelers lost, I just get so mad and deflated at the same time I have to take a break. But I'm back. It's the Steelers. And yeah, and that's what happens. Matt Katz says the team needs 3 wide receivers, not 2. And then he says, and I agree with, I was just going to say this, and I'm reading you. So I'd be, it's going to look like I'm taking after you here. But 1 free agent, 2 in the draft, absolutely. And I believe that's what they can do. Matt, I think you've hit it head on. We're going to have so much to talk about here. Steelers freak. They need hostage wide receivers. Draft 2 who can't complain and are cheap. And there's some wide receivers out there that I would go ahead and take a look at, but it's not going to be Denzel Boston. I'm calling my shot right now. I'm saying no. I think he's going to be great. I just don't think it's a departure from what they have. So, and that's important to me. I love this. Big E Bronco. Condolences, Bronco. Hated to see your team get ousted the way they did. Snow killed them. Snow killed them more than Nick's going out. I think Stidham could have got them past New England, but that weather was horrible, and I feel bad for you. Michael Pittman Jr. will be up for the trade from the Colts, with the best slot wide receivers in the NFL, because they're going to have to make room for the other guy. Pittman Jr. Oh, I'd take him in a hurry. But let's end this, though. What can the Steelers learn from the Seahawks Super Bowl win? They could learn mostly that you can reinvent yourself really quick, as long as you have a plan. Have a good plan and do whatever you can to execute that plan. Because anybody could talk a good game. It's going that extra mile to make sure that it works. So make it work. Brian Brown, he is late to the party, and he said why. Why McCarthy? Is it because he's from there? No. Man, we better not start looking like Dallas. Man, it's hard to win in Dallas right now. Steelers freak Rogers is talking with his AI wife about returning. That's true. The McCarthy thing, he's bringing in. He's going to. I don't think he's going to be stubborn. He's going to let Patrick Graham, who, if you did not listen to Bad Language on Tuesday, please go listen to it. It's on our audio side, wherever you download your favorite podcast. I had a guy from the Raiders, a beat writer for the Raiders. And his big thing was, Brian, man, if the Raiders had the guys on defense, the names on defense that you're reading off to me, then they would have been great on defense. Patrick Graham is a very good defensive coordinator. And when he makes, he's the guy that, let's put it this way. He's the guy that if you have to say, hey, look, It's Thanksgiving and our turkey fell through. Could you look through the cupboards right now and put together a meal? He would absolutely put together something 5-star. And the better the ingredients he has, the better it's going to be. But even if it's not great ingredients, he's going to put something that's going to fill your bellies and work. Pete Carroll got in the way a lot there too. And now Mike McCarthy here. Mike McCarthy is going to go ahead and say, I want nothing to do with defense. I'm going to stick on the offensive side of the ball. PG, you go do your thing. Then on the other side, he has a guy in an offensive coordinator that can go ahead, that they could spitball off of each other. But Mike McCarthy's going to use a tight end. He's going to throw over the middle. He's going to use his wide receivers all over the field. And speaking of using guys all over the field, PG will do that as well. Patrick Graham will do that as well. The Steelers' defense will not be predictable. The Steelers' offense won't be predictable. And that's what the change has brought, and that's what I'm excited for. So what can the Steelers learn from the Seahawks Super Bowl win? Be adaptable. And that's exactly what the Seahawks did. My name is Bryan Anthony Davis. This has been the Sunday Night Q&A. Make sure you check out SteelCurtainNetwork.com. So much great stuff. And there's going to be stuff coming down the pipe every single day. You need it. We are a Pittsburgh community here. We're just not all in the 412. I'm not in the 412. But I grew up in Western PA. The 814 I grew up in. But we bleed the black and gold, and that's what counts. And this has been a fun show. You guys are great. Thanks for all the questions. Thanks for spending your time with me. I am going to go unwind, and I love what's ahead for our Pittsburgh Steelers. A new season of hope starts now. Super Bowl's over. The 2026 season, it's in the kitchen. And boy, I can't wait to eat. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Keep it right here to the Steel Curtain Network, proud part of the Fans First Sports Network. And remember this, just when you think that you've got all of the answers, we keep changing the question.
Ready, set, go.